Hi, this is Adam Baldwin, and I play John Casey on Chuck. And you're listening to Chuck versus the Podcast.
Hi, my name is Graham Jones, but you can call me Gray. This is my show. It's about Chuck. It's filled with interviews, the latest news, crazy co-hosts, and spoilers that'll make your day. Oh, wait, I need to go back. I host these TV nights. They used to be pretty boring, but everything changed when I found NBC's new show, Chuck. Pretty soon, my TV night got pretty crowded. Guys I didn't even know were showing up the door. Big, important guys. Really scary, nasty, get killed for hosting them guys. Next thing I know, these super episodes are downloaded into my brain, which means every moment of my life, I'm thinking about Chuck. ChuckTV.net sent their top people to protect me. That's Mel and Liz. They're pretty zany. They co-host with me now as a cover. So now I must welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, the #1 TV podcast for NBC's Chuck. This is Gray.
This is Mel.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 29 for Friday, September 25th, 2009. We're very excited today to feature Lou's interview with executive producer-director Robert Duncan McNeill. Mel, tell us all about it.
Well, we had a chance almost to interview Robbie McNeill at Comic-Con. He was not on the official list of interviewees or even attendees at Comic-Con, but we snagged him in the interview room while we were waiting for the handlers to bring someone over. And I just about talked him into sitting down. He was just pulling out the chair to sit down and talk with us when they brought over someone who was officially on the list, and he scurried away before we could actually get any intel from his brain. When Lou emailed me and said, hey, guess what? Robbie McNeill's going to be at Toronto Sci-Fi Expo, and I'm going to be there too. We decided that this would be a great opportunity to try to set up a one-on-one interview. And bless Lou's heart, he was up for it. And so we arranged that with Robbie McNeill. That was kind of a surreal evening when I got a call from him and on my cell phone saying, hey, what do you want to set up? When can we do this? And so we had a little chat and got it set up, and Lou then had the opportunity to talk to one of the masterminds behind Chuck one-on-one. So that's what you're going to be seeing today, because this is a video podcast.
Yep, and what I want you to look for as you watch the interview is how much Lou looks like Robbie.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. It's quite funny, actually. You don't realize until they're sitting together. It's almost like a mirror is between them.
Yeah, that was a little bit surreal, but anyway, nice job, Lou, on this interview. We think you guys are really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, so enjoy.
Hi there, I'm Lou Sitzma from iCraveDVD and ChuckTV.net, and I'm here with Robert Duncan McNeill, director and supervising producer for Chuck.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I actually got a upgrade in my title this year, so now I am a co-executive producer on the show. Which
Wow.
is, pretty. I guess that means I'm really important to some
Well, you
people.
certainly are
I
to-
don't know who, but
Well, to the Chuck fans at the least, yes. So what does that add to your portfolio of duties then for the show?
it really doesn't add anything different than what I've done for now 3 years on the show, honestly. But it's a nice reward for sticking around for 3 years. And
Right.
basically, what I do on the show is a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I work with the writers early on in the process to kind of hear what they're thinking, what they'd like to do, and let them know what we can do.
Right.
You know, some things.
So did you?
Chuck flying a spaceship off to Mars or something might be a little tricky for us to do. And
Right.
anyway, so I just kind of help balance, the production realities with what they're imagining, and
Right.
so that we can, come up with the best locations and the best stories and things.
So are you involved, like, right from the beginning? You don't sit in when the writers are breaking the season and things like that? Or?
I do sit in there a little bit. I mean, the
Right.
truth is, most of my responsibilities are with production, the physical production side. So I spend a lot more time with the prop department, or our locations department,
Okay.
or the camera department,
Right.
or the actors. But I do try, so I can do my best job on set. I try to get in the room and kind of hear what they're talking about, and
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. It's a great job because I get to do a little of everything.
Very
I get
cool.
to sit in on, editing episodes,
Right.
all the episodes, and look at ways to make the cut just a little bit better.
Right.
So yeah, it's a great job, a dream job.
Yeah, a lot of us would like to be in your shoes,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, because last week there was a big casting news announcement
Yeah.
with Brandon Routh. Were you involved in that decision at all?
Yeah, I was a part of. We've been very lucky to have some high-profile actors on our
Yes.
show, and I think because of the style of the show, it's kind of a comedy, a mix of The Office and James Bond.
Right, it's very cross-genre.
It's
show.
very cross-genre, so it's very attractive to people like Chevy Chase or Scott Bakula or
Yeah.
some of those, that level of actor, to be able to have fun, play the comedy, and also go blow things up and chase down the bad guys is a really great
Yes.
combination. So, yeah.
That's very cool. Now, I've heard comments from Zach and Josh Schwartz that there's kind of a relationship trapezoid, and I know that you can't give us away too much here, but can I assume that with Brendan's casting that he's part of that trapezoid?
Yeah, it's probably more of a three-dimensional chess game than a trapezoid even. It's going to get very complicated. I mean, one thing we learned, and the writers learned early on in the first season, was that playing out just episodes, kind of anthology style, just mission of the week,
Right.
was not really as satisfying for the audience or for the writers. So creating mythologies that have layers where we lay something in and then 6 episodes later that little thing is revealed to be very important
Right.
has been great. Bringing in Fulcrum the first season as an organized bad guy
Right.
group for us to fight. Bringing all that mythology into it was really important. So yeah, so this third season it's going to get very complicated in terms of relationships, in terms of what we learn about the Ring
Okay.
and who they are, and I think it's going to be very satisfying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm thinking like with this, whatever the shape this relationship's taking, there seems to be a missing female counterpart to it from Brandon signing. Are we going to hear maybe something down the road about a big
Yeah,
female guest
we're
star?
working on a female guest star right now, a character
Okay.
that will be in the mix of this three-dimensional chess game, and
Cool.
and kind of come from a different direction. Not everybody comes from Fulcrum or the Ring or the spy world. Some people come just from
Right.
the world. So,
Yeah.
and also with Captain Awesome learning about Chuck's secret last
Yes.
year, that's going to put at risk his identity, his secret identity, and
Right.
so
Chuck's identity?
Chuck's, yes,
Yeah.
yes, his spy identity. So, so that's going to start to leak out a little bit more, and
Okay.
and his real life is going to get mixed up even more with his spy life. So,
Okay, very cool. You've directed 9 episodes now, and I think you just finished the first third season episode as well, right?
yeah, we did. We just finished.
Right.
I directed the season premiere for the third season, and Chris Fedak and Matt Miller wrote that episode, wrote the
Right.
script, and I finished editing my director's cut just a couple days ago. So.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's really been cool this year is the rise of Twitter. So we're getting like these little notes from like Matt Barber,
Ali Adler. Yes.
So we're almost like over your shoulder watching.
I know.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Yeah, Allie was on set quite a bit with the second episode that she
Right.
wrote with Scott Rosenbaum. And yeah, I noticed that Allie was twittering constantly.
Yeah, it's really
You have to be
awesome.
careful around Allie Adler,
Yeah.
what you say.
Yeah, because every time they put a picture up, if there's like a whiteboard or something with writing on it, everybody's trying to blow it up and see what the.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Because we're quite intense about the show.
Yeah.
The episode that you've directed, a lot of them are like my favorites. The Truth from the first season, you did The Breakup and The Dream Job, which I mentioned earlier with Scott Bakula, which
Yeah.
was an awesome episode for me because I was a Quantum Leap fan. To see him on as Chuck's dad
Yeah.
was really great, and I know you've worked with him
Yeah.
in Quantum Leap, and you've directed him in Enterprise as
Yeah.
well. So that must
No,
have been
Scott's
quite a blast.
amazing. The thing that is really was interesting for me is I'd worked with Scott as an actor on Quantum Leap.
Right.
And I remember when I was on that show, I was so impressed by Scott's professionalism, and that's an easy word to use, but he was a real leader on Quantum Leap.
Right.
He was incredibly generous to the crew of that show, the film crew, the camera crew, all those guys. and women. He was a real leader. And I remember after doing that episode, I would always think about Scott, honestly, as being a real example of someone to emulate, yeah,
Right.
as I, pursued my career. Anyway, and then coming back to Enterprise and getting to work with him again, he just was an incredible leader. I mean,
Right.
very well loved by the crew, a great professional actor and a good person, a good human being.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to is I really enjoy working with good human beings.
Right.
Anyway, my point to the story is Zach Levi is a similar type person.
Yeah,
I mean,
in many ways, I think Quantum Leap is like a spiritual ancestor to Chuck.
Yeah.
Same kind of vibe, same kind of
Yeah,
mood and tone.
absolutely.
And that's why I really like Chuck, because I was a big Quantum Leap fan. So it's
Oh.
kind of like, hey, this is Chuck for this, or Quantum Leap for this generation.
Yeah, it is. I never really thought of it. Yeah, I never thought of it quite that specifically, but you're right. It really is in terms of the identities every week and the kind of mixture of comedy and action. Yeah, it's a very similar show. And Zach Levi and Scott Bakula are very similar human beings,
Right.
good people. Zach is incredibly generous to the crew and a really great leader of the set and the actors there. And
Right.
and he gives 200%. He works very
Yeah,
hard.
he seems to have no off switch from what I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. No, he has no off.
Yeah.
It's good to be young.
Yes, it is. Just to follow up with Scott Bakula, is there any chance he's going to be in the third season at all? I know he has his own series going right now.
Yeah, he's got a series, so that complicated our access to him. But
Right.
of course, we'd love to bring him back.
Right.
So we'll see how things develop, and it'd be wonderful if there was a back 9 or additional episodes. Right now, we've
Right.
got 13.
Yes.
And the writers and the producers have a great plan for those 13 episodes
Right.
and the shape of that. But things are always evolving. It's funny, even though we have a shape and a sense of where it's going, as you see some of this season progress, we'll adjust things, I'm sure, to how certain storylines are playing or how certain chemistry between actors is going. So.
I wanted to ask you about the 13-episode arc. Like right now, Chuck's scheduled to come back in March. There's a lot of discussion on forums and that they'd rather fans wanted to come back, obviously back earlier,
Yeah.
like, as a early or a pickup for another series, perhaps. What are your feelings on that? Do you think that starting in March with the opportunity to be promoted by the Olympics is a much better launching pad for the show for the third season? Or?
Well, it could be potentially a great launching pad. My only fear is that, I think our frustration for the last 2 years,
You've
first
been
2 seasons.
interrupted.
Yeah, we keep getting interrupted, and we're having these long breaks. There was a writer's strike, and some shows came back and filmed some episodes. It didn't make sense for us, really, after the writer's strike to do that. But if we had, that might have helped our cause a little bit. And then the second season, we had some big breaks in there and preemptions and so it's
Mr. Obama got in the way.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
and a Super Bowl, kind of planning around a Super Bowl
Yeah.
and all sorts of things. So so that's been our problem. So I guess I would say I'd love to come back on. The sooner the better.
Right.
I think would be good for the show. I think the fans would like it, and I think it'd give us the best chance for additional episodes and
Right.
and growing the audience a little
Yeah.
bit.
I'm of the opinion that an uninterrupted run is probably the best thing for the show. Like if
Yeah.
you get a 13 episode arc that's nice and
Yeah.
tight, and because you're going to be a really tight pace,
Yeah.
you're going to go right through, and that'll just hopefully would just keep building the audience each week. And I've also heard rumblings that Chuck might be used as a sister show to launch another show in the summer, so there might be a chance that you would get a back 9 that way as well.
Yeah,
Have
there
you heard
might.
that?
Yeah, I have heard that there could be additional episodes in the spring/summer.
Right.
So
Because there's other
yeah.
series like Burn Notice are showing that people do watch TV.
Yeah.
In the what's considered off season. So
Yeah.
I really think Chuck would actually really prosper under that kind of a.
Yeah, I think like you said, the most important thing, no matter when we launch, is to have a run of uninterrupted episodes, because our pattern has been 2 or 3 episodes and then a break, and then 3 or 4 episodes and then a break, and so yeah, let's hope for a long run.
Absolutely. I'm curious, when you're doing the episodes, a lot of the episodes, like in the breakup, you had two great songs that you had during the train station sequence when Sarah couldn't shoot Chuck, and at the end, of course, was Skinny Love.
Yeah.
Do you know about those music choices ahead of time, or do you? Because it seems like some of the shots are, you're telling me it's all done afterwards, right?
It's not, no, it's not all done. No,
Okay.
it's funny you mentioned the music choices because this week one of the biggest issues on our premiere for me has been a music choice for a scene. And at this point it's just been the editor and I kind of wrestling over that choice. But Josh Schwartz the Josh Schwartz brand has always had music as a big part of
His shows,
his shows. And he often has a very specific song in mind, even before we start filming an episode, for a particular scene. If there's a real important emotional moment or sequence, he'll let the editors or the director know, I'm thinking of this song, start cutting the scene to this song. And often he doesn't. Often we go in, like on this premiere, we go in, the editor and myself, and we try to, knowing his brand and knowing his style, we try to find some music that works for us and fits that, and hopefully we'll hit the target on that. But you never know with Josh. You never know because
he's got final say on that.
Oh yeah, he's definitely he's the one with his finger on the pulse of the music there, and he it'll be. I'm actually really curious about this song that I pushed for this week to see how that goes, because that's always an interesting.
I'm really interested to see the scene now.
That's the premiere's we'll have a number of kind of iconic musical moments, and
very cool.
And there's opportunity for a lot, and then of course we got to balance things with the budget because you can't just have all the music you want. It can be very expensive. So usually we have one or two kind of big songs, big licensed songs. Actually, I forgot about one song in this premiere. We absolutely wrote a whole sequence around a specific song, kind of a classic. We often bring in those 80s classics into our show.
Right.
So there was one scene that was designed around a song.
Cool.
So,
with your background as an actor, do you think of yourself as an actor's director, or do you kind of balance, is your first concern with the actors? Or
well, I think it's I think any kind of filmmaking or television is a collaborative medium. I mean, no one person can accomplish what we do on a television schedule alone. Even creatively, it can't be. It's very hard to make it just one vision. Everybody brings a little bit. So in terms of an actor's director or camera person, I think it all is very important. You can have a great performance, but if it's not photographed in a way that maximizes that performance, then it can go to waste. So I think both things are really, really important. I do feel like because of my acting background, I really enjoy working with actors on pushing things as far as we can go. And I was talking with our actors the other day about a time, in television there's not much time, and I'd done an episode of Dawson's Creek one time, and there was a scene that was just not quite working for the actors or for me as the director, and so I said, you know what, let's just forget the scene for a second, let's do an improv. And we did a whole improv, not about the characters of the scene we were shooting, but just to try to create a feeling and an energy.
Right.
And at first the actors, on a television show, you're not used to doing those sorts of things out of left field, but they really kind of got into it, and we found kind of this rhythm that we were all looking for, and then we said, all right, now let's go do the scene, and it was great. It was the only way to get us there. But I don't think, I doubt a director who had come from a camera background or an editing background or something may have even thought of that technique, so yeah.
You'll have to indulge me on this next question, because for me, still up to date, the most iconic scene is the talk that Sarah and Chuck have at the end of the breakup.
Right.
And it's kind of a trademark of the series that Chuck does all the talking and Sarah does all the reacting. So I'm wondering, through that scene, How much guidance did you give each of the actors, particularly like for Yvonne, because she does so many great facial reactions during that whole sequence? Like,
Yeah.
did you just let her do that organically, or did you say, at this moment you should be feeling this, and that moment you should be doing that?
I don't really break down the moments. Certainly, I don't ahead of time tell the actors what I expect or think should be each moment by moment beat.
Okay.
I mean, that's really for an actor to make their own and to personalize, and I would never want to micromanage.
Okay.
If after we start shooting a scene and it seems like there's a moment that for our story is really important that we're not quite maximizing or hitting, I'll definitely talk about that moment and what my thoughts are and what some possibilities might be in terms
Right.
of a feeling or a reaction. But I think it's really important for actors to make every moment their own and make it
Okay.
personal, because otherwise, it's a puppet show and it's
Right.
manufactured and it's false
Right.
and we feel it.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather see an honest moment, a real emotion
Right.
that's personal, that's a real excitement or a real
Mm-hmm.
disappointment, rather than just say, and on this moment, smile really big, We
Right.
all know what a fake smile looks
Yeah.
like, I want to see somebody really excited.
Sure.
So,
Well, that's really awesome, because that's my favorite scene of the series so far.
Wow.
Still. And the two of them in that scene are just so excellent together.
Yeah.
That it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
I really like that. I guess we're going to wrap it up. I just have two quick questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Is Julia Ling, Anna, going to be back this season? Because we haven't really seen her at the Comic-Con. I know Josh said that the whole cast was going to be back, but we haven't heard anything.
yeah, we've had a lot of budget cuts this year, so there's going to be some changes just because of the realities
Sure.
of our economy and things like that. So there's
Sure.
going to be some changes just in terms of how often we see people. Things that we could afford to have the whole cavalcade of stars on every episode.
Right.
Maybe in the past, we're gonna change that up a little, and see people maybe a little less. But
Sure.
the good side of that, and I've seen this already in our filming, is the scripts will end up focusing a little more on characters. So you won't just see Ellie and Awesome in one or two little scenes,
Right.
doing nothing.
Right.
If Ellie and Awesome are going to be in the show, they're going to have a story and they're going to have something important to do. So yeah, we hope to bring everybody back. We hope
Cool.
everybody has a chance to come back and do some episodes, but they may not be in as many episodes and in the same way that we have in the
Yeah,
past.
we've kind of heard that already down from before. I just hadn't seen her mentioned much lately, so
Yeah.
I was wondering if she was in at all. That's
Yeah,
all.
at this point, she hasn't been in.
Right.
So it's, at this point, she's not in these early episodes.
Okay.
But in terms of our stories, like I said, sometimes a practical problem like money has led us to a good creative solution,
Sure.
which has been really focusing. Morgan's not just going to be at the store every episode with a couple
Mhm.
little scenes. He's going to have some stories.
Great.
So yeah, I think in an interesting way, it's led us to digging a little deeper with some characters.
Okay.
So-
And because you have budget cuts, is there any chance you might be doing double duty this season and appearing in front of the camera?
There was some character at one point we were having trouble casting, and they were pushing me. Whoever had
The
written
show
that
needs a
up
bad
as,
reoccurring villain.
Yes, I could do that. I could do that. Maybe. We'll see. That'd be
Okay.
fun.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank
Great.
you very much for your time, Rob.
Yeah.
It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.